Welcome back, everyone, to another video of 3 very scary true rainy night horror stories. I've always found it strange how rain seems to bring out all the creepiness in the world, don't you? Just something about the pitter-patter of raindrops against the window pane just makes things seem so much more eerie, doesn't it? I find it hard to believe that most people have experienced some kind of paranormal event during or just before a storm, don't you? There's always something in the air. I know I can't be the only one who thinks this way, right? Well, if you do too, then make sure you subscribe, because today we're going in deeper than ever before with 3 real rainy night horror stories that will make you fear the dark. Let's begin. In our first story today, we meet our narrator, who finds themselves in a very scary situation. They say they were driving home from a night shift when their car broke down, and they had no choice but to spend the night in it. But then soon after, they heard footsteps. Now, let me read. So I was driving home from my night shift job and got caught in a massive rainstorm. Then I realized my car wasn't going to make it. I pulled off at the next exit and got to a nice secluded area where I parked my car. I rolled down my window to let the rain hit my face and started crying. I just wanted my mom. As the night wore on, I began hearing footsteps outside my car. At first I thought it was my imagination. The wind was picking up and the rain was coming down harder. Then I heard the footsteps again. I turned on the interior light and looked out into the dark. I saw a pair of glowing eyes staring at me. I slammed the door and locked it. My heart was racing. Then I heard a loud bang on my car. I turned on the engine and drove home. What I didn't know at the time was that I had a flat tire. About 3 miles from home, I felt a bump, and my car veered to the side of the road. I managed to get home safely. In the morning, I checked my tire and found a large gash in the sidewall. Whoever or whatever was outside my car must have done it. To this day, I still wonder what was out there. In our next story, we meet our narrator who is stuck inside their house during a rainy night. They say that they couldn't sleep, so instead they went downstairs for some food when they heard a very scary sound. But then it happened again, and this time our narrator was much closer to the sound. So they decided to investigate. Now, let me read. It was a stormy night. The wind was screaming and the rain was pounding against the windows. I was trying to sleep, but the sound of the storm was making it impossible. Around 4 a.m., I got up to go to the kitchen for some water. I heard a loud thud sound, like someone had jumped onto the roof. I shrugged it off and went back to bed. A few minutes later, I heard it again, but this time it sounded much closer. I got up again and went to the kitchen. This time I actually investigated. I went to the window and looked out onto the roof. I saw nothing but the swirling masses of the storm. I went back to bed and tried to sleep, but my mind was now wide awake. Our dog, who never made a sound, started barking furiously. I got up again and went to the front door. As I opened it, the dog ran into the backyard. I followed him and called out into the darkness, "What is out there?" Suddenly, I heard a twig snap. Something big was out there. I slammed the door shut and locked it. I called the police, but they said there was nothing they could do. The next morning, after, of course, not sleeping at all, I went out into the backyard to see if I could find anything. I found a broken flower pot and a small, shallow hole in the soft earth. Other than that, there was nothing. In our final story today, we meet our narrator who is asleep in their bed when they hear a very scary sound. But when they look around the room, they can't see anything. So they decide to turn their lights on, and that's when they see something standing by their bed. Now let me read. I was home alone, and it was raining heavily outside. I was laying in my bed listening to the rain when I heard a loud thump coming from somewhere in my room. I sat up in bed and listened. It happened again. I thought it sounded like it was coming from beside my bed. It was a low, guttural thump, like someone was breathing heavily right beside me. I started to panic, and I quickly scanned my entire room in the darkness, but I could see nothing. Then I remembered my phone was charging in the other room, and I quickly got up and ran to grab it. By the time I came back, the noise had stopped, and everything seemed normal. I turned my bedside lamp on and climbed back into bed. Moments later, I heard the noise again. Startled, I turned my head and saw a dark, hunched figure standing over by my closet. I screamed and fell backwards out of bed. As I watched in horror, the figure began to move. It took a step towards me and then another. Its face was hidden in the shadows, but I could see its eyes, which glowed an eerie red in the dim light. It continued to advance towards me, and I couldn't help but scream again. Just then, the lights flickered and went out, plunging my room into darkness once again. When I finally got my breathing under control, I noticed that the closet door was slightly ajar. I slowly got out of bed and walked towards it, each step echoing in the silence. As I reached out to open the door, a sudden gust of wind slammed it open, revealing nothing but an empty closet. So did any of these stories scare you? And why do you think rain brings out all the creepiness in the world? Let me know in the comments below. But as always, don't forget to subscribe for more scary stories. Thank you so much for watching. Take care and stay safe.